This just gave us a wild look into the San Antonio Spurs future as Dylan Harper has said something that just has us fired up about his role for the team and how the San Antonio Spurs will coexist. Plus, we got a very interesting stat to back it up, but more importantly, we got a crazy trade proposal from a certain writer that sends an unbelievable, undersized, fantastic rebounding role player from the New York Knicks to the San Antonio Spurs in exchange for Keldon Johnson. Got to dive into all of that, but with the season right around the corner, we finally have some pictures of our Spurs boys back at it, back at the grind in San Antonio practicing, including Wembanyama, and a very interesting update on De'Aaron Fox. That plus a whole bunch more all coming up on this live episode of Spurs Digest. Keenan, we got people here in the chat. We got Real Juan, we got Shepard Smith, we got JP. I'm ready to dive into this. It's great to do another weekly live. Tell your friends and family. Thursdays, 6:30 p.m. Central, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Keenan, I am excited. We're 1 week closer to the season, and it's so good to see our boys back and practicing. And hey, the rumor mill isn't seeming to stop.
No, absolutely not. The rumor mill makes me laugh, and it's this time of year where you get the best of the rumor mill because people are like kind of almost looking for things, but I love it, and I'm so excited for the season because Eurobasket's going to start going, and we know we have obviously multiple EuroLeague basketball players, so we'll go from there. I'm excited for it.
Me too. It's unreal, and I hope you guys are excited for it because, look, we love doing these streams. We're super pumped for the season. Leave a like on the stream if you're in here. That's going to push us out to other Spurs fans. Get them to come on into the chat. We love to see the chat being active. Thank you. I see Ricky in there as well. San Antonio Cinematic in here checking in. How are you? Ricky, we are doing great. Let's go. We need the season to start. That's right. Hope everyone's doing well. Let's start out, though, Keenan. Now, I know the boys are back, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. These mock trades and Dylan Harper's quote and a little bit of the future, the glimpse into the Spurs' future that we're getting with these reports. But I want to start with just going over the coaching hires once again. And oh, there you go. It's not popping up. So let's try over here. No, there we go. Now it's popping up. So the Spurs, like, they've made a bunch of big hires, right? The big one here, they added Sean Sweeney, and they brought in associate head coach Corliss Williamson. But the big thing too is Rashard Lewis. Now, these are like things we've talked about in the videos, but I want to just reiterate and talk live with the fans. I want to get your guys' opinion as well, because it's so easy, I think, to gloss over these kinds of moves, right? These kinds of moves are just so easy to say, okay, well, yeah, they're coaches, whatever. But to me, this describes a big shift behind the scenes. Of course, their new head coach for Austin as well, the well-respected coach from Australia. Guys like Rashard Lewis to help with your shooting, especially for your big men. Sean Sweeney to pilot this defense that is looking to be one of the best in the league this season. I feel like still somehow we try to talk about how important it is, but what the Spurs have done with Gregg Popovich stepping away from head coaching and how they've constructed the system behind Mitch Johnson, to me is honestly unbelievable.
I completely agree, and obviously Gregg Popovich still has his pulse on the Spurs organization and kind of like being there within the organization day in and day out. But the thing is, he's one of the best coaches of all time. He's a champion. So what is they doing? They're bringing Rashard Lewis a champion. They bring in Williams a champion. Like, they bringing in championship level guys who have been in there. They understand what it takes game in and game out, whether they played 4 minutes, 2 minutes, or they actually were, in Rashard Lewis's case, they played actually like minutes on that Heat team that won and really played minutes on that Magic team that did win. So doesn't matter in this case. They understand what it takes to get to the next level, and that's what we want for our players to get to the next level. And Rashard Lewis, I really think Carter Bryant is going to benefit so much from him because that same style-ish of build, Rashard Lewis is 6'10", Carter Bryant is 6'8", obviously much more athletic, but he can really get that jump shot flow. I mean, Rashard Lewis shot like 39% from three for his career. Carter Bryant easily could take some of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, can you imagine, though, a world where, like, I mean, Carter Bryant's defensive ceiling is a lot higher than Rashard Lewis as well. And look, I don't know exactly what Rashard Lewis is going to work with these guys on. I mean, we saw that video of them in practice, or that clip at least, or the screenshot of Rashard Lewis working specifically with Carter Bryant. I've been saying how Rashard Lewis could even help Wemby. Not that he necessarily needs help, because every shot for him is basically open. But with Rashard Lewis's form, every shot for him was almost open. But again, it's not just him. I want to just highlight again how important Sean Sweeney is going to be to this team. And the guy that was the defensive mastermind behind so many adjacent kids teams, extremely highly regarded around the entire NBA. The Spurs have really done a good job of bringing in pretty much everything they've done this offseason either serves a specific purpose or is going out and getting a guy that every team in the league would want. And I just want to, again, just highlight how crazy it is that it is the Spurs that are doing this. And I think this does tell us a lot about how people are going to want to come to San Antonio in the future, whether it's staff or even whether it's players, largely because of Wemby, but also because of the system that we have built up.
Yes, 100%. I think that the Spurs just continue to show that they're a first-class organization. They're going to continue to show that, and they want that to be from top to bottom, regardless if it's going to be even the janitors. They want the janitors to come in and have a great time, or it's going to be their high-level coaches that they have here. So, great organization to play with, and they're just going to stay A1 as they always have.
It's going to be awesome. And I want to head back to the chat. We got saludos, Hector. ¿Cómo estás? Hello, Josh and Keenan. We got stayed up to 1:30 to watch the stream all the way from Belgium. This is what is it? La Miss Beldia. Oh my goodness. Let me try that again. Sorry. I got to look at the other screen where it's clear. La Miss Beldiali. Whoa, that's a hard name to say, but thank you so much for tuning in from all the way from Belgium. We got fans from all over. Go Spurs, go. What's up, JPJS23? We got Aaron saying, hey, Spurs Digest, big fan. How far do you think our Spurs will go next season? Hey, Keenan, look, how far we could go, I think the sky is the limit. I think right now, looking at this team, it's hard to foresee anything less than a playoff spot. But it's not crazy, again, to say that, you know, the way this team is built, we could absolutely be an underdog. Now, a large part of this team relies on Wemby's jump this year, how Dylan Harper is as a rookie, what Stephon Castle looks like in Season 2, and so many of the bench pieces as well, how Olynyk coalesces with Cornet and stuff. But, like, I mean, I don't think it's crazy to say that this team could even make some noise in the playoffs just because of how deep this team looks. But, I mean, hey, fantastic question. I think that's what we're all about here, hoping for the best.
I think the max would be the Western Conference Finals. I think realistically, the second round of the playoffs is something that the Spurs can get to. It's really difficult for teams, like if you go through the history of the league, to just go from a losing record and multiple losing seasons in a row to jumping to a championship. But like you obviously can jump from not being the greatest, getting talent influx, and then going to being a contender and a team that can be within that final 8 of the playoff circuit. So I think that we could definitely get to the second round. And if we get to the second round, that following season, like we saw the Thunder 2 years ago, second round, they lose. Last year, 68-14, they go and win the whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a really interesting season. I can tell everyone's just itching for that Spurs basketball. Like we talked about last week, it's that itch for basketball. And you know what? Part of it has sort of been, it's been sort of scratched because the San Antonio Spurs went out and tweeted back to the grind, and we got a couple of great pictures coming up here because the boys are back in San Antonio training again, including Victor Wembanyama, who is looking ripped, by the way. Look, I mean, this kind of Giannis transformation seems to be well on the way, and like, look, it's just amazing to see him out there practicing with the team, practicing with the boys, because Keenan, again, I don't think there's anyone I'm more hyped for this year than Victor Wembanyama. I mean, look, there's so many guys I'm excited for, but like, and it's maybe an obvious statement to say, oh yeah, I'm hyped for Wemby, but like, dude, this guy, healthy Wemby, was on pace to like almost shoot league average from 3 on like 8-9 attempts a game. This dude is primed for like an MVP level season. I don't think that's crazy. I think Wemby is, if not a dark horse, like one of the guys who I think you should absolutely keep an eye on for MVP. And to see him out there training again, blood clot free and looking ripped as ever, I am so psyched, even just to see this picture.
Me as well. One, like, where is he? Is he in the recording booth right now? Wherever that is, I love it because the aesthetic of that photo,
Yeah.
I love it. I could put that on like a wall and be happy with what I'm seeing on like a poster. But you're right. I mean, he was top 5 in the NBA like weekly MVP ladder. He was top 5 mid-season, and the Spurs weren't even like a great record team, but he was already doing so much on the court. So you put a 44 plus win season over there. Yeah, he'll definitely be within that MVP conversation. You know, they get voter fatigue sometimes with people like Jokic. So like they're itching for another guy to win MVP. Anthony Edwards, Luka Doncic will be up there, but this guy right here will be well in that running. Let him put up 28 and 12, and we'll see him on a lot of ballots.
Oh my gosh, 28 and 12. Like, I feel like maybe that should be like, I don't know. I want to do a poll at some point, but like 28 and 12 to me seems like extremely realistic. And I think that's kind of crazy to say. Like 28 points a game is not easy to do. And, you know, again, like he's a guy that doesn't play that many minutes, right? Like 33 minutes a game last year. Like if he gets up anywhere near like 36, 37 minutes a game, 28 and 12 with 4 assists and 4 blocks is legit on the menu. And he could maybe even shoot near 40% from 3 if he's taking better shot. Anyway, I know we're just getting into this.
40% from 3 means he's averaging over 30.
Well, yeah, there you go. Like
And that means he's
if he
running away
averages
with
30 a
MVP.
game, right? Like
He's
anyway,
running away with MVP.
absolutely, right? And that's what I'm saying. Like this guy, if especially if the Spurs somehow snag like a top 4 seed, which again the West is an absolute bloodbath. So like I don't think that should be the expectation by any means, but again,
Mhm.
it's one of those things that's not necessarily impossible to see them go that far. And anyway, we'll have to wait and see, but super hyped for him. But it's not just him. We got to move on to another guy that was seen there, of course. Another guy we really want to talk about. That's the picture is not loading. Yeah, these pictures are not working very well. I might have to pull some audibles here because there's some. Oh, there we go. Don't know what's going on with my hotkeys here today, but bear with me. There might be some technical difficulties, but for now, you know what? It's working.
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay. We're okay. We improvise, adapt, overcome. That's what it's all about here at Spurs Digest, right? I mean, well, not really,
Spurs
but
Nation,
yeah,
honestly. We
Spurs Nation.
adapt and overcome.
Yeah,
That's what we
exactly.
do.
Yeah, it's what we did. You know how you overcome a couple of years of mediocrity? You get Wembanyama. Right now, De'Aaron Fox. You solve your point guard problem? De'Aaron Fox. So the big thing with this is I've seen a lot of Spurs fans talking about it. Let me know if you guys notice it. Give you a couple seconds. Just kidding, I'm giving you 2 seconds. His pinky's not wrapped anymore. Look, we knew it. He had the pinky surgery. You can see it's still a little bent. I'm not going to go like, X-Files, like forensics and go super zoomed in on it because I don't think that's going to do us any good. However, it is a little bit bent, but I'm excited to see him hopefully pain-free, right? If you don't have a splint on it, it's probably pain-free. And that's one of these things, Keenan, we talked about, like, ever since he hurt his pinky back in Sacramento, his numbers, especially his shooting and like some efficiency metrics, have gone down. Like his numbers overall have gone down since that injury. Pre-injury, we talk about it all the time. Like 8 3-pointers, 3-point attempts a game, shooting 38%. This guy, when healthy, when going, when his hand is good, can be a good shooter. And there's so many things I'm excited for. Also, just the bromance here between Sochan and Fox looks really cool. But yeah, just seeing Fox in this picture too, like, again, I feel like I'm seeing a lot of Fox hate from a bunch of different places, but hey, man, I'm just pumped to watch him play this year.
I am too, and I think it's because we drafted Dylan Harper and then we gave him the contract, and then people are so excited about Dylan Harper that they can't be excited about Dylan and also excited about De'Aaron Fox at the same time. It's
Mm-hmm.
like one can't work with the other, but it really can, and we can even discuss that here a little bit more in just a moment. Not that I am De'Aaron Fox at all, but I also have dislocated the pinky on my shooting hand, and it did not heal properly, so it looks weird on my shooting hand. To this day, I can shoot fine, and I'm pain free, so it doesn't really affect it. I think the pain was bothering him more than the aesthetic and the actual like shape of his finger. So it's nice to see no wrap on it, and it also is nice to see that Sochan and Fox are acting like 1994 blue nice brothers, like sitcom brothers. But I love that. So I like it, and it's really nice to see Fox looking happy, and I hope he is happy, and he's gonna make Spurs fans happy this year, regardless if they feel it right now or not.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to a huge season from De'Aaron Fox to see if this screenshot works. Oh yeah, baby, it does. And again,
There you
like
go.
the 3-point percentage, I know is going to worry some people. Though I have seen some people have this take that he's going to average like 18 a game for you on low efficiency. It's like I just don't see that. I think if De'Aaron Fox is averaging 18 a game, I think his efficiency is going to be pretty high. Like he's going to get the touches. Like he is going to be our main. Like look, Wemby is probably going to be the main offensive engine, but De'Aaron Fox is going to get so many touches, especially being the point guard, that he's going to be the point of attack offense for us the entire season long, I would imagine, right? He's going to help Wemby create shots. It's going to be him and Wemby both kind of cycling who takes over that role. And yeah, just very excited to see it, Keenan. I know we've talked about it before. I think I talked a bit with Brian about a bit with you about it. But like when we're talking De'Aaron Fox this year, do you have him over or under that 23.5 from this past season? Because it's a nice line to bet at, right? 23.5. I think I have him as the over, and I feel like not many Spurs fans are in on that. I might, you know what? That's a good chance to make a poll. Do you have him over or under 23.5 points a game this year? Because again, with a fully healthy pinky, I'm taking the over, and I feel like it's pretty comfortable. Maybe I'll come to regret that because of the sheer talent we have shared throughout this team, but like, it wouldn't surprise me if he put up 24 points a game, though it also wouldn't surprise me if he was closer to like 22.
To be quite honest with you, I'm the under, but I also think it's because I could see instead of it being 23 and a half, about 5 and 6, I could see like 21 and a half, 4 and 8. Like I could
Okay.
see him really like dishing the ball and that efficiency going up and being 47 and a half from the floor and 35 from 3. So like I could see, even though his statistics might be a little bit not as eye popping because the points are down, I think that in less minutes he's going to have more efficient basketball and that he's going to be an even better player, though his statistics might not showcase what they were a couple years back when he really was an all NBA player, averaging 25 a game, shooting 36% from three.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point. And everyone in the chat, everyone who's in there, you guys can vote in this poll. We'd love to see what you guys have to say. Over 23.5 or under 23.5 points per game. Let us know in the chat. Go down there and leave a vote. But, you know, I think you actually touched on something very important there, Keenan, and that's the numbers, right? And when you sign a max deal like De'Aaron Fox did, naturally people are going to eyeball the numbers, and that's naturally how a lot of us evaluate performance. It's hard to look at the DBPM and the, you know, true relative plus minus and stuff like that. Like you can, yeah, it's not as easy to just contextualize. Like what can I see? Points, rebounds, assist deals. That's all easy to see. It's easy to evaluate, right? So, but you know, the max contract comes with an expectation. It comes with an expectation that you're going to look at those stats and say, wow, yes, you know, there is an importance to having Fox on the court and going out there and like watching him look like he's dominating. But like, to me, I feel like we're in a tough spot with him where I'm already seeing it. Like, I think Spurs fans are saying, like, if he doesn't average 24, 25 points per game, you're going to look at that max contract and say, well, why do we pay him that much when we have so many guards? But to me, again, it's about the impact. It's about how he opens up this offense. It's about if he can step up defensively as well, because we know how fast he is. We know how many steals he can get per game. I feel like there's going to be a lot of people tied up on the numbers. And look, I'm not saying that's wrong. I just think that Fox at an efficient 22 a game with like 5 boards and like 6.5 assists, if he's like 50% from the field, like 37% from 3, to me, especially if it opens up Wemby a lot, that is absolutely worth the money. Anyway, that's a whole separate discussion, but I just feel like I want to talk about that, especially since we're going to get into Harper and his effect on this in just a few minutes here.
I completely agree with that 100%. And I'm going to use a guy that we just had last year in Chris Paul.
Okay.
So Chris Paul, peak Chris Paul was able to get you 23 and 11 a night. He was able to do, obviously, when he was playing for the Hornets, he was giving you 23 and 11 a night. Even with the Clippers, it was close to 20 and 10. If you think back to his first year with the Suns, when the Suns actually got to the finals and they ended up losing in the finals, he averaged 16 and 9. Are those the same stats as his 23 and 11? No. But his impact on winning was just the same because he was able to control tempo, control the pace, control ball. And, well, I mean, we can't expect what the Spurs going to average 145 points a game if Fox is averaging 25, Wemby's averaging 30, Vassell can get you 20, Harper can get you 18. Like, all of them can do that at their peak, but within the realm of a team, if Fox is giving you over 20 and 8 assists, I'm happy. Even if he's under 20 points, I'm not mad as long as he is playing efficient basketball, not turning the ball over, creating pace, giving us opportunities in transition, because that's something that he does better than 95% of the league. I'm happy. So it's not always going to be about the counting stats this year, especially with this team. Wemby, it will be, because like that's what he does. His counting stats just happen. Other than that, everybody on this team is going to be watched and see their value.
Yeah, 100%. And I see someone in chat there, Welchie, saying he's going into his prime as well. That's just the price of today's NBA. And that's absolutely true. Look, is it unfortunate? Yeah. Like, objectively, is De'Aaron Fox worth the same amount as, like, I don't know, like a Giannis or a Wemby in a couple of years? Like, no, like, not in terms of on-court value. And that's where, like, the whole salary cap thing comes into play. Like, well, if they're all getting maxes, you know, you're getting much better value out of like a league MVP, like a Jokic or a Giannis, than you are out of a guy like De'Aaron Fox. But again, it's the price in today's NBA. It's not that long ago Tobias Harris signed. Well, that was a max deal at the time, right? Or at least it was close to it. You know, like these kind of huge deals that get signed because you just have to keep your guys, and that's just the price. Like, they demand it because that's what the market's set at. But really excited to see what Fox can do. We're going to end the poll there now, and actually I'm a little surprised. The overwhelming majority, 90%, now there was only 11 votes, so that means I think 9 out of the 11 people said De'Aaron Fox would average over 23.5 points per game. And I like that. I love that our fans here are giving him the props he deserves, because he's going to be unreal. So leave your thoughts again about De'Aaron Fox. Maybe you're watching this after the stream. Leave them down below. But I want to head to the chat again. Aaron saying, hey, no, I think we already answered that one. Xavier Hernandez, do you think you'll ever have a meet and greet? Well, yeah, maybe. It's not out of the question. I mean, look, I'm not in San Antonio, but look, if we ever have a chance to do it, if we're ever around SA were around, were able to do it. I would love that idea, Keenan. I mean,
I would love that. That would be a great time, and it's something that if a lot of people in here would love to do, and Spurs Digest would love to do that. I'd love to go to a game and then have a meet and greet before, after, whatever the case may be, depending on what time and what day the game's on.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. I would love that. So, hey, I mean, look, if you guys want it to happen, just let us know, especially as the season's getting on. Yeah, that's a really interesting idea. We got a race for Saints. Oh, yeah, I can't wait for that. Aaron also saying starting 5-6 man. Ooh, we'll get into that in just a bit because there's some interesting talk to be had about that, especially with the mock trade that was proposed recently. So we got to dive into that. And we got Xavier Hernandez once again saying Fox's deal isn't going to look bad in year 3. I mean, again, that's what I'm thinking. Angeline, big supporter of the Spurs, big supporter of the channel. Fox, yeah, hello. 27.5 points, 8.5 assists, 3.5 rebounds, 2.1 steals. I mean,
if he does that, he's in the MVP conversation. And I'm not joking. Like, he will be an MVP. He'll be a top 5 MVP candidate and an all NBA first team if he does that.
Well, here's my question, Keenan. If Fox puts up 27.5 and like 8.5 assists, what is Wemby putting up? Because like if Fox is doing that,
28 and 11, and then that means their duo's putting up 55 a game, and that's going to be all-time. That's all-time numbers.
Yeah, man.
I mean, KD, that's KD, Steph, that's first year LeBron, Wade, that's prime Shaq, Kobe.
Like, it's an all-time season. It's like
that's an all-time pairing and duo, and if that's the case, we're threatening for the 1 seed. Like, and that's genuine. We're threatening for the 1 seed if that's the case.
Man, and like we know what Fox can do. Oh, anyway, I'm excited. I want to see De'Aaron Fox prove all the doubters wrong. Like, I really do, because there's so many doubters. And look, hey, is he gonna be like? Is there a world where he's not filling those shoes? Yeah, maybe. But I cannot wait. But we have a super chat coming in from Wemby's Castle. Thank you so much for the super chat. Now,
thank you.
Check this out. Oh yeah, I hope that's not too loud. I don't think it is. Look at that Wild West sound. Look at that super chat. We got the animation going for today. Wemby's Castle, thank you so much for the super chat, $5, saying, I can't wait for the season to start. What bench player do you think will make the biggest impact to winning? Don't say Harper or Cornette. All right, Keenan, that's a fantastic question. Everyone leave a like on Wemby Castle super chat there, because I like this question. And, you know, it's a nice thing before we get into these mock trades and get into what Dylan Harper had to say, because the Spurs bench is a very interesting thing this season. And if we can't say Harper or Cornette, that only leaves a handful of players. So I have my answer in my head. Do you have your answer, Keenan? Who do you want to go first?
You go first, and it also kind of depends too on what is our starting 5.
I think we have the same player in that case, because my answer is Jeremy Sochan. And because I am a Jeremy Sochan truther. However, you guys have made it clear, and I also understand Harrison Barnes is probably starting this year. If Harrison Barnes is starting, Jeremy Sochan is my choice. If Jeremy Sochan is starting, I think in that world, it might just have to be Harrison Barnes to be my choice, right? Because, again, his shooting is going to be so important. But, again, depends if Vassell starting, whatever. But for my answer, Sochan. I think most fans seem to think that Sochan won't start. If Sochan's coming off the bench, that's my answer, because of how incredible he's going to be defensively. Like, can you imagine your starters, like, oh my god, okay, the other team's starting unit finally came out, and then Jeremy Sochan is out there, who could put up 15 points a game on his own and, like, hound you on defense. So, I think that's my answer if he's not starting. Keenan, what were you thinking?
That was kind of where I was going to go with it. One thing I wanted to say, Xavier Hernandez, I think that Carter Bryant could be the biggest X factor.
Yeah.
And I don't think he would be particularly like the biggest impact initially, but he could be the biggest X factor, because I think we can win without him. But if Carter Bryant really develops into something where he can play 18 minutes a game, a comfortable 18 minutes a game, where you don't think he's an offensive liability and giving you that defensive showcase, yeah, he could be the biggest X factor. But my guy, also, to go off of that, I'm going to say Julian Champagnie as well, because if we can get a Julian Champagnie shooting close to 40% from 3, that could really take that second unit to the next level, and will make things really easy for Dylan Harper, because Dylan Harper is not going to have the defense collapse on him as much, or he'll have the defense collapse on him because of the fact that he's such a great driver and he can dish it out to Julian Champagnie. So that would be my other guy that I think he could be one of the biggest impacts off the bench, just because if he can shoot at that high level.
So, you know, I think there's a funny omission And I think it's a little funny, especially with what we're about to talk about. But I want to take a look here. I love that Wemby super chat. LFG, yeah, I think it's pretty cool as well. So yeah, we'll try and play it a few more times as well. I mean, hey, if we get more super chats, we'll play that Wemby animation even more. Love these little custom graphics. My gosh, I should not have drank sparkling water before doing this. This is a horrible idea, bro. All right, okay. But I do see. So I see some people saying Carter Bryant, and I tend to agree with you, Keenan, that like, you know, X Factor is I think a better way to put him. But if we're just purely looking at the super chat that says biggest impact, I think we're on the right track. But someone there, W. Gad, did say KJ. And also Kelly Olynyk says Wemby's Castle. You know what? Actually, like, this is the thing. You know, we have a legit argument for, like, you know, considering we were restricted to not say Cornette or Harper, and we have a legit argument between, like, Champagny, Keldon Johnson, Jeremy Sochan / Harrison Barnes, and Kelly Olynyk. That just shows you how deep this team is and how well constructed it is. Because you know what? I think I would put Kelly Olynyk again in that X Factor territory, just simply because I think Olynyk, if his shooting is great, which I think it should be, that does change the way this team will play. But I don't anticipate him averaging more than like 7 or 8 points a night, you know? Like, whereas a guy like Sochan could very well bring like borderline all defense, team level defense, while putting up 12 to 16 points a game. And I think that would be more impactful. But like, again, Keenan, like, guys like Olynyk and Keldon Johnson, like, could have massive impacts too.
They could. I think Olynyk would be more of a playoff important. Like, I just think that in the playoffs, he could become one of those guys that really is important due to the fact that he can stretch the floor, he can play some defense as well, and he has been in playoff games and moments. So I think he could be a guy in the playoffs that you could see the uptick in minutes just because a lot of the guys in here haven't had a playoff game, and he is one of the guys with true playoff experience. So regular season wise, I agree it'd be more than the X factor. I think playoff, he could actually have a genuine impact on the game. And then Keldon Johnson, to me, he's like the biggest seesaw on this team. Like, you could give me 5 different outcomes for Keldon Johnson and I can understand them all and like almost agree with every single one of them. He's an interesting guy. He's probably the most interesting player on this roster when it comes to like, his dynamic within the team.
Yeah, I agree. And like, again, former 20-point per game scorer, but Angeline's hyping him up. Keldon Johnson's prime Westbrook, said one of our announcers in the game, the way he dunks, scores, and rebounds might be a bit of a stretch.
That's 30, 11, and 10. I don't know about
dude. Hey, you know, like, Keldon Johnson is like big body. He's got big body for a reason. This dude can shoot the ball when he's on. We saw those clips. You talked about those clips. Dude is knocking down some 3 balls. If he can get, like, we'll show his percentage in a bit, but if he can get that 3-point percentage up again, man, like, I think he could. His form's not completely broken. It's definitely 2 motion, but hey.
All I've got to say is the change on Keldon Johnson to me is crazy in the Spurs mindset.
Yeah.
Last year at this time, everybody wanted Keldon Johnson gone.
Yeah.
This is why I love sports fans, because obviously just the way everything changes. And now it seems like that hate is getting directed to Fox because of how things went. But genuinely last year, if you go back even in our videos, people were like, we need to get Keldon Johnson off this roster. It was that and Zach Collins, and we got rid of Zach Collins. Yeah. Like, those are the 2 guys that were like, we need to get rid of these 2. And I love the love for Keldon Johnson this year, because last year he had lost weight, and we were talking about, oh, he might be poised for an actual big jump. Obviously, the year didn't go as we expected it to go. But yeah, we'll see how it's going to go this year.
Yeah, 100%. And look, I mean, there's so many different guys that could have good years, bad years. Like, for example, it's not crazy to have Castle hit a sophomore slump this year. I think it's crazy to have high expectations for every single player, because not everyone's going to meet it, especially with the depth. Shots are going to get taken away from certain players, but really interesting to see what's going to go down. But I think now it's time, Keenan, we get into this next part of the video that I'm excited about. It's wacky. It is wacky, and just take a look. So oh my gosh, yeah, these things are just not working. But hey, this works. NBA mock trade. So this is from Ryan Shea. You can check the link in the description of this stream. No, I actually don't have it there. Sorry, I will add this after the stream. Actually, can I go find where this is? Let me see if I can find where this is, because I want to check this out. I want to check this out. Is it in my? No, it's not. So sorry, I don't think I have it open. Let me actually see. No, I don't have it open at all. But that doesn't matter. I will link this after. So this is one of the crazier mock trades I think we've seen all off season long, and it's time we get into this, Keenan. This proposes, right? Ryan Shea proposes a straight up swap Keldon Johnson for Josh Hart, indicating that look, Josh Hart's a little older. Keldon Johnson brings a bit more of a scoring punch and kind of fits the Knicks team a little bit better. Objectively, pure scoring punch, I can't necessarily disagree that Keldon Johnson is a better scorer than Josh Hart. But if there's any world where we could swap out Keldon Johnson for Josh Hart, the Knicks, I think, would be delusional to do this, if I'm being completely honest. But Josh Hart, to me, he averaged more points than Keldon. He averaged more than in every single stat than Keldon Johnson. If Josh Hart was ever available to come to San Antonio, I don't know if I could handpick a better player to just fit in this Spurs system. Like, just a guy that can knock down the three, but just a great hustle guy. Like, I don't know. He just feels like such a Spur, doesn't he? It's an insane proposal, but I wanted to bring this up because even if it's not Josh Hart, because this is a bit nuts, a Keldon Johnson trade is not impossible. And if we're talking about the caliber of player we get in return, again, maybe not Josh Hart caliber, because I think this deal just doesn't really make sense, but some kind of framework for getting rid of Keldon Johnson for a guy that can fill a role like Josh Hart, I think is not the craziest idea in the world.
No, that makes 100% sense. If you're getting a specialist for a guy who is an all-around decent talent, he can do a little bit of everything. He's a decent shooter. He can create his own shot. Defensively, he is not horrendous. He can play some defense. Like that's a guy who can do a little bit of everything, and you put him on a team where that can really shine and he can really find his niche in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
Trading him, I didn't realize this was straight up for Josh Hart.
It is.
Maybe
It's 1-for-1.
I didn't realize that it was 1-for-1. So when you said that, I almost laughed. This would be highway robbery.
Yeah.
Like, we would be getting a guy who can get you a triple double on any given night, be the best defender on the floor. Him and Jeremy Sochan might like crack their heads open in practice the way that they're going to be hustling around the floor. Like, he would help this roster out so much. And honestly, that 1-for-1 specifically just for them would make me change my tone and being like, oh, the Spurs, they can get to the Western Conference Finals comfortably if they got Josh Hart instead of Keldon Johnson. That would be insane.
Yeah,
oh my!
It's so for all of you that you might have seen me looking away just then. I just added the link into the description if you want to go check it out. So it is like this is what I'm saying, right? And again, I'm not about to talk about this from the Knicks perspective because look, if I'm the New York Knicks and I have Josh Hart, why am I trading it for Keldon Johnson, right? Like.
We've seen the Knicks do dumber things. The Knicks aren't a great organization.
Well, okay, hey, no. Look, that's fine. We don't need to make any more enemies right now. Sorry, Knicks Digest.
Sorry, Knicks fan. Sorry, I'm still over. We just beat you in '99, so I'm still happy.
Oh man. John Starks, who? Oh my goodness. Look, this is yeah. I don't know. Keldon Johnson is a guy that I think is getting slept on, just simply like. I don't know. Is he getting slept on though? Like, I know his potential is so good. We've seen him when he is rolling, when he can have the ball in his hands, he can be an effective scorer. He can be a good three-point shooter. This past year, he was not. There was a lot of games where I was like, dang, Keldon Johnson made a few really bad decisions in that game. His corner three-point shooting, horrendous this year. Sub 30% from the corners, which is supposed to be a lot of players' strengths. Now, to be fair, I don't like shooting corner threes either. I'm a guy who prefers to shoot from the wing. But 29% from three in the NBA is not going to fly. Not to mention, again, literally lower in every stat than Josh Hart. Now, again, Josh Hart plays a million minutes a game because Tom Thibodeau decides that he wants to exert the most cardio out of every single one of his players every single night. But, like, again, a guy like Keldon is a lot younger. He's like 4 or 5 years younger than Josh Hart, and he feels a bit more of a scoring need in terms of give him the ball and get him to score. My worry is, like, you know, if you're the Knicks taking him on, like, does he actually fit well with the rest of their team? Does he even start? And, like, maybe even a better question, Keenan, does Josh Hart start on the San Antonio Spurs in this hypothetical trade here?
I think that he would I think you would have to start Josh Hart.
Yeah.
And then I think that would make the bench unit one of the most scary bench units in the league. Because, I mean, it's already a good bench unit, but if you were able to say, okay, we're starting Fox, Castle, Hart, Barnes, and then Wemby, and then off the bench you have Harper, Champagnie, Vassell, Sochan, and Cornette with Olynyk and Bryant you can throw within there. That's that's nasty. And then like, and if they're not doing something this year, then it's next year. But yeah, you're correct when you're saying for Keldon Johnson, if you're gonna trade him, the reason why you would get rid of him is because you would want to get a specialist. And I think on this roster now and on our team that we have, he's going to be undervalued, but I don't think he's underrated, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And just because I think his value doesn't fit with what the Spurs need. They just need specialists at this point because they have checked the boxes on every single big thing they need. So now if you were to get a guy, you would really want a specific 3-and-D guy. DeAndre Hunter style kind of guy. Well, like if they were to trade that one-on-one, I mean the Cavs need that too, so it wouldn't make the full sense in the world for them. But like those are the type of guys that we would like trade Keldon Johnson for where you look in a vacuum, if you're just taking player for player, Keldon's probably a more talented player. But within the confinements of the San Antonio Spurs in 2025, 2026, DeAndre Hunter would fit it more because of the way he plays defense and the way he can shoot the three.
Yeah,
like that.
I'm gonna throw two guys out there, and I've said it every time. Give me one of those Pelicans wings, bro. Like, give me Herb Jones.
Oh, absolutely.
Give me Trey Murphy. One of those guys. Like Trey Murphy, I think especially, but I think Murphy. I mean, he just signed. I still think that contract is going to age very well for Trey Murphy. But like again, I think the Pelicans plan to keep him around, though. I don't think the Pelicans know exactly what they're doing. So sorry again, Pelicans fans, but not really sorry because like. But you're right, Keenan. Like, if we're trading Keldon Johnson...
Spurs versus everybody.
Yeah, Spurs versus everybody. Southwest Division, get out of here. We don't need you here. We're the only ones in the Southwest Division. Sorry, you got Kevin Durant? Never heard of him. So, we have Keldon Johnson. If we're trading Keldon Johnson for someone, I think it's that kind of role. Now, again, whether another team who has that kind of 3-and-D great style wing who can kind of score as well, those are so valuable. Why would a team accept Keldon Johnson for them? But I think this year, and I think a lot of people in chat see Angeline like hyping Keldon Johnson up again, he could very well push and have like some really good scoring numbers off the bench this year. And I don't think it's crazy to say that. I mean, again, a lot hinges on how Dylan Harper is a facilitator for this bench offense. But regardless, you're going to have Harper and Castle running a lot of 1 minutes with De'Aaron Fox off the floor. And Castle is not... He's not the playmaker Harper is, and Harper's not quite the playmaker... maybe not quite the playmaker Fox is, just because Fox has more experience and is able to slash through the defense a bit better, though Harper's good at it too. We don't really have that Chris Paul type anymore, right? Like, we don't have a point guard that's like facilitator, right? So, when you have a guy like Keldon who thrives off that, like, that might hurt his numbers a bit, but also... it's not a bad idea to have the ball in his hands a little bit more, to maybe go a little more iso ball. I don't know. I'm just trying to like spitball some ideas to maybe even up Keldon Johnson value, because that's another thing I think we have to consider is that the long-term future of this team does not have a lot of the guys we're talking about. And how much value we can recoup for them when we do decide to move on, just like we did with Malachi Branham and Blake Wesley bringing in Olynyk. Fantastic move, right? These are the kind of things I think we have to think about going forward as well. When we're looking into a glimpse into the Spurs' future, these guys are the ones that are going to have to get moved, and how do we maximize their value in terms of a return?
Yes, 100%. And the trade partner and what the Lakers ended up getting for, I'll bring it back, for this isn't what we would want to get. But when the Lakers traded Kyle Kuzma for Russell Westbrook, Kyle Kuzma on that specific roster at that time, even though they did win a championship in the bubble, didn't fit exactly what the Lakers needed. And you were able to see Kyle Kuzma kind of refine his game in Washington. They thought that Russell Westbrook was going to work out. It didn't. That's fine. But that's the type of kind of trade that you would want to look for, is where we have a guy that would be the Kyle Kuzma type that can definitely work somewhere and can become something. He may just need more minutes to just go figure it out. And we just don't have the minutes to let him go figure it out, because we've already got a team figured out. We just now need to work around putting the best pieces around that team. And he's a player where let him play 32, let him go average 20, see what he really does well. And then other teams can kind of build their second unit maybe, or a starting unit, kind of not around him in the first starting unit, but have him implemented in it.
100%. And look, I mean, hey, Kuzma, he looked like he was becoming something. I don't know
what happened when he went back to Milwaukee.
No, bro, that's what I was gonna say. Like the Milwaukee fiasco is gonna be studied for I don't know what to do. Did he have a Tony Snell game? I feel like he did, right? He had one of those.
He might have had I want to have a Tony Snell.
What is up with Milwaukee and Tony Snell games? Like I don't. It's like it's a bit of a curse. Look, they got their title though. They can chill. Giannis. until Giannis becomes a Spur, he is staying in Milwaukee forever. So, we'll have to wait and see on that front. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's a different conversation for a different day. Mark Johnson saying Nick's not nincompoops. Well, I mean, hey, they might be a little bit of a nincompoop from time to time, but
They're okay.
it's fine. Yeah. We got D4 Christ saying starting five should be Fox, Castle, Barnes, Sochan, Wemby because of height. Second unit, Harper, Vassell, Champagny, or Keldon, Olynyk, Cornet. That's actually so. Our bench unit would involve 5 guys that have been starters in the NBA within the last couple of years at some point, minus Cornet. I don't think he's ever actually been. He's started over stretches, but mostly like when Al Horford was out, I think. So, but regardless, though, Harper would be a starter on a lot of teams. I think, right? Yeah. I think that's fair to say. Vassell, I have him penned in as a starter right now for the Spurs. He'd start on a lot of teams. Champagny has started a lot of games for us in the last few years. Or Keldon Johnson, same thing with him. Kelly Olynyk has been a starter on a lot of teams. In recent years, not as much, still can be. Luke Cornet, yeah, there you go. And then again, saying no Bryant, saying Xavier, but like Bryant is just one of these other guys you can extra add in. I still think he's really raw though. I don't want to rush Bryant into anything, but that's crazy to see. Like there's a genuine world, like starting Barnes, our best shooter, is not a bad idea alongside Fox, Castle, Sochan, and Wemby, and having Vassell and Harper as your backcourt off the bench with Julian Champagny. Well, that's kind of, I guess Champagny would be the 2 in that situation, but it doesn't really matter. It just depends for defensive assignments, where I think Vassell would probably get the small forward in terms of defensive assignments. But regardless, that's, again, putting it into perspective. We can put whatever starting lineup we want. Our bench is going to be insane. Our bench is basically what could be some bad team starting lineups.
Seeing that lineup right now, I love it. And it's making me think that let's go trade Keldon and Champagny for a perfect Herb Jones 3 and D, and let that be a bench lineup. Because obviously not that you're gonna sub 5 and 5. This isn't Kentucky with Devin Booker and all that. So like you're not gonna sub 5 and 5, but at the same time, if you were to take those two and basically form them into one person, that could be the perfect like 3 there. Which could honestly in 2 years Carter Bryant, but like hopefully in 2 years that is what Carter Bryant is. That bench would be perfect, and that makes the starting lineup perfect. The only thing with the bench unit is obviously you're gonna have to stagger the subs in, of course.
Yeah.
But that bench unit doesn't play the greatest defense, which is why you would want. Which is a little difficult.
Cornet's
there.
An anchor, but like that's
Cornet's I mean, like you have an anchor, but like you would need Wemby as an anchor because like Wemby obviously has like the switchability kind of thing. But like so like that's just kind of thing. You would want the thing that Spurs need is just a real true 3 and D guy, and it ties this entire roster together, which is what that puts a bow on it.
It does. I feel like though maybe I'm overselling our guys, but like if I'm evaluating Dylan Harper's defensive potential, I don't think he's that bad. Like especially in the summer league.
I think he could be a quality defender.
So that's what I'm saying. So we're talking that bench unit. I know it's not like the most amazing defensive lineup, but nothing is compared to our starters. But like you're starting Sochan, sure, but like Vassell, again, he hasn't quite reached that really high defensive potential that he had when he was drafted, because he's just so long and he's so mobile and he was versatile, right? And he still is. It's just those instincts haven't really carried over to the NBA as well as I think we thought they would, but I don't think it's necessarily all gone. So if Devin Vassell can be a nice, long, versatile defender, Dylan Harper, we saw in Summer League, I know it's Summer League, it's going to be a decent point of attack defender, at least because of his size. Champagny, whatever. Olynyk, not great. But then Cornet is the anchor. You do have some weak points, but if you can have decent point of attack defense and a versatile wing who can guard whichever like 2 through 4 that you think is best fit for him, and then you have Cornet in the paint, I feel like that's really not that bad. Again, the problem then is if you have Olynyk, who's you would never run that lineup if the other team is going small ball, because Kelly Olynyk's not the kind of guy that's going to bully you in the post, and he's not the kind of guy that's going to be able to keep up with a smaller, more mobile power forward on defense. But at the same time, I feel like the defense in that lineup is maybe not horrendous, and I think like D4 Christ says in the chat, Champagny's a bit of an underrated defender. Again, not an all defense level backup kind of roster there, or I should say bench lineup, but like still not that bad. Like our defense this year, and who knows, maybe Sean Sweeney can pull out some kind of miracle as well, because maybe this is the year we see that kind of jump from some of these guys that we were hoping to see defensively.
Yes. That's the thing. When people get defined roles and they get to star in their role, then you get to see maybe their weaknesses not become strength particularly, but not become as big of a weakness. So if Champagny really can go in there and be like, okay, my focus this year, I don't have to even think about really working off of the dribble. My focus is threes and actually playing defense. He could become a legitimate nice 3-and-D kind of guy. So like even Buddy Hield last year, you saw when he played with the Warriors. Like Buddy Hield coming into the league was not known as a guy who really played defense, but last year he was a guy actually for the Warriors who was playing pretty solid perimeter defense throughout their playoff run. And obviously they lost early when Steph went down, but just guys like that, if he could mimic that Buddy Hield's kind of mold, obviously he's not the shooter Buddy Hield is, but he can mimic that kind of shooting prowess from the outside. And then hopefully you get a guy in Vassell who is like, you know what, the offensive load doesn't need to be put on my shoulders anymore like we needed it 2 years ago. So now let me really lock in on defense and then get my points when I need to get my points. The fact that people can switch off of the ball, Fox doesn't always have to bring it up. Harper, you got Vassell, you've even got Wemby now and again that can bring it up. And I mean, we've tried Sochan bringing up the ball every now and again too. So you've got people who can. This team is so versatile that we have pieces that can make jobs easier for other people, which is what this team can really do and really do well. So
yeah, absolutely. Anyway, we can talk about this all we want. I just can't wait till we get to the season. But there is one guy that we want to talk about, and that is Dylan Harper, because there's a quote that's been circulating recently that is just, some people taking it maybe bad, some people taking it good. We're going to discuss it with you guys. But hey, before we get into Dylan Harper, the main event of this episode, hey, just leave a like on this stream if you don't mind. If you're enjoying what you're watching, look, if you're not enjoying it, that's totally fine. You can leave a dislike. We don't mind. But if you're enjoying what you're watching, you're enjoying the chat, enjoying us talking, click that like button. We're trying to hit 50. There's 80 of you in here right now. We're trying to hit 50 likes. We're 28 away. So look, if even like a 30 you hit that button, we'd hit that goal. Hey, again, it's just pushing it out to more Spurs fans. It's one click. It helps us out. Seriously, more than you could know. One like actually makes a big difference. So thank you so much for tuning in. Hey, if we get a certain amount of likes, maybe we'll do a little fun game here at the end of the stream. We got some interesting basketball games lined up, but only if the fans are into it. But Keenan, I'm excited to talk a bit about Dylan Harper, because this quote that's been circulating today, I still can't tell if it's recent or if it's a bit older, but regardless, I think the fans are going to be a little interested in this one.
Yes, I 100% agree with it. And off of that, I have another thing that I brought up in a video the other day. I'm excited to talk about it too.
All right, let's get into it. So let's head to the full graphic just so we can admire what he said. So via 7 p.m. in Brooklyn. Now, he was on that show in June, so I'm actually not sure if this is from June or if this is a recent quote, but regardless, it's been making the rounds on social media today, and I wanted to revisit it. He said James Harden was with the Thunder and came off the bench for 3 to 4 years waiting for his turn. So everyone gotta wait for their turn. And so, look, you can take this in a couple different ways. I saw some people saying, oh, that just means as soon as his, 3 to 4 years is up, he's gone to get the bag because the Thunder couldn't pay James Harden, so he went to another team. First off, that's not going to be the situation. They didn't pay Harden because they mismanaged some of their cap and they thought they were at a different part of what
they could have paid Harden. They just needed to. They just said, "Hey, Serge Ibaka matters more than James Harden," because they decided, again, as you said, financially, they just didn't know what the books were.
Yeah.
They kind of worked it. Sam Presti kind of did a good job. Now he understands.
He understands now. Yeah, but look, what I'm kind of getting at is that this ain't gonna happen for the Spurs. Like that's not something that we're looking at. But at the same time, what I love to hear from this here is because he's been working with Manu, my boy, Manu Ginobili. I keep turning the wrong way. Why do I keep doing that? My boy. My favorite player of all time, Manu Ginobili. So he's been working with Manu. Now, Manu was not an official coach in any capacity for the San Antonio Spurs. We knew that, but he's been working with some players over the summer, especially Dylan Harper. Again, a lefty, a crafty lefty who can get to the rim with ease, just like Manu did for so many years. And knowing that six-man mentality from Manu, you have to imagine that rubbed off a little bit. And him saying this about James Harden was with the Thunder 3 to 4 years waiting his turn. Harper does not mind. Everything that he has said from the moment he was drafted has seemed quite humble. Like when he signed his contract, he was like, like he just seems genuinely humble. His dad maybe not so much on social media, but Dylan Harper seems like a humble guy, knows what he wants to do, loves to be a part of the Spurs organization. And to me, The way I'm interpreting this, Keenan, is that this guy is ready to embrace his role and almost force management's hand if he needs to, if he is that good. That's what I want to see. The best thing you can see from your young players is for them to genuinely blow your expectations out of the water so much that they force your hand in your rotations to play over other guys and force you to make tough decisions. That's the kind of vibe I'm getting from Dylan Harper. I'm not getting the vibe of like, yeah, I know I'm good, but I'm going to have to wait. We haven't seen him play on the NBA floor yet. We're going to have to wait and see. But like, to me, this is the right mindset to have. I like hearing this from him, but I'm curious to see what you think and the chat thinks as well.
He's been saying this all off season. It's been summer league interviews. He's coming in and saying, I really wanted to play with the Spurs organization. I love this organization. I just want to come in there and work every single day. He wants, like, he has big goals. Like, he talked about he wanting to win Rookie of the Year. And like, it's great that he wants to do that, but he understands that he needs to come in there every single day and just work hard. And he wants to star in his role. And whether that star role is, hey, maybe he does get cracked the starting lineup halfway through the year, or it's 24 minutes, 25 minutes off the bench. He stars in his role, and I think that that's going to be okay. And I want to bring this up. I'm going to quickly just bring this up because I did bring it up early in the last video that I did. De'Aaron Fox has already been in a situation like this before, which is why I think he's going to be okay and why I think everything's going to be okay. Tyrese Halliburton, when he came into the league, he was a Sacramento King alongside of De'Aaron Fox.
Mm-hmm.
Tyrese Halliburton came off the bench and De'Aaron Fox started. That year, Tyrese Halliburton put up 13 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists a game. You think Harper can do something along those lines this year? Fox is already in a situation where he has to not worry about the guy behind him, but he gets to kind of mold and help bring the guy along behind him because Fox was already an established player in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
And in a year and a half later, went from the year Halliburton started, they got Sabonis because they're like, wait, we're going to have to maybe make a decision between these two because Halliburton's really good. And they're like, we're going to keep Fox and we're going to get Domantas Sabonis.
Mm-hmm.
If they have to do that again, due to age alone, they're probably keeping Harper, and that's perfectly fine. And someone's going to take Fox's contract. So it's not the end of the world. If Harper is as good as we think he can be, and he forces his hand, as you've been saying, that's a good thing because that just means we're going to be getting talent back, and we have a guy who already can step in and possibly put up 19, 5, and 4. Or if Harper needs to take a couple years to really get to that potential, well, we already have a top 10 point guard in the game and a all NBA caliber kind of guy already starting for you. So you don't have to rush him into being an all NBA level player, which is why this situation to me is perfect. Let him develop into what he is going to become in the league while learning from a veteran who has a similarities in his game.
Yeah, 100%. You know what's funny? Every single guy that we compare to Harper is a lefty, and it's just kind of like, oh, he's going to take over for Fox. Oh, Harper's talking about James Harden. Oh, he's working with Manu Ginobili. It's like, oh, they got the type, you know? Like, it's just, hey, yeah, that's what I'm excited about. But no, you're absolutely right. And like, again, looking at the team's roster, this is not going to work, is it? The roster's not going to pop up. God, it's not going to pop, but whatever, it doesn't matter. Like, thinking about the Spurs roster, and again, the salary situation in a few years, to me, a salary situation in a few years is the salary situation in a few years. It's not something you worry about now. Yes, you have to have that in consideration, but there's so many unknowns when it comes to these young players. Same thing with Castle, same thing with Harper. How much is Castle going to improve next year? Is he going to hit a wall? Is he going to take a big jump? I think he's going to take a jump, but you don't know until you see it. And these contracts in a few years, again, and we know we have Wemby's extension, we got Sochan's extension that has to come in at some point soon as well within the next year. So these guys are still kind of unknown quantities. And what you can't really afford to do is say, yeah, but what if Dylan Harper is a max level player in 4 years? What do we do then? You know, like what you do is you just evaluate based on the talent you see in front of you. And it's like
somebody move off of somebody and make him move at that point when we have the information that we need.
Yeah, you just you roll with the punches. Like you can't preemptively decide what Dylan Harper's going to be. If you could do that, every team would have nothing but superstars. And so it's like, you know, there's so many interesting things that could come out of this. But I just do love to reiterate the attitude that Dylan Harper has shown. I think I saw someone say this before the draft that he said this. I'm not sure if that's true. That's what Xavier Hernandez says. But yeah, like I think it's going to be unbelievable. I'm actually curious, Keenan, what Dylan Harper can do defensively off the bench, because I think that the offense, we know what's going to come. If Dylan Harper can put up like a 12, 14 points a game off the bench. And I actually see D4 Christ and they're talking about sixth man of the year, rookie of the year. I think, yeah, Ben Gordon, I think, did win it. But yeah, the Spurs would be the first team to win 3 rookie of the years in a row. Again, it'd be hard to steal it from Cooper Flagg because he's just going to get way more touches than Dylan Harper. But if Harper can come in, average like 12 to 15 points a game off the bench and have great point of attack defense, like, again, like, it's all about the impact to me and maximizing these contracts. And yeah, I'm super excited to see how he embraces this role and what that actually looks like with our really deep bench as well. Like, the dude's going to play with some good players.
He has the length, he has the athleticism, he has the physicality to come off the bench and become a high-level defender pretty instant in the league. He's not this twitchy as Stephon Castle is, but we obviously saw Stephon Castle come into the league and just become a high-level defender. And Dylan Harper has that capabilities to where he can truly be a high-level defender. And it's going to be the first time in his life where he hasn't been one of the 2 best offensive players on the team that he's playing on. Yeah. So, like, he has the ability to go out there and actually exert more energy defensively because he's not going to be asked to go get 20 plus a game offensively. So we're going to see a different side of him to where, oh, okay, he can do this. So then maybe even in big moments, we know fourth quarter, you need to go guard whatever point guard, Ja Morant, and you're just like, okay, Dylan Harper actually can go do that in a couple years, and we feel comfortable with him doing that. So
yeah, there's so many, like I keep saying, there's so many wrinkles to the Spurs team, but like the glimpse into the future, into what Harper's going to do for this team, long-term what he's going to do, the trades that we could pull off. Again, Josh Hart would love it, but something maybe a little more realistic involving someone like a Keldon Johnson or a Champagny and all these things, looking at the players, the camaraderie between everyone. This glimpse into the future is absolutely unreal, and I can't wait to see how it manifests. But, Keenan, I think that's about it. I think that's about all we got. This has been another fun stream. I feel like this hour has absolutely flown by, and look, I'm loving doing these every single Thursday. Like, again, tell your friends and family, everyone in chat that look, you know anyone that's a Spurs fan, send them our way. We got lots of content coming every single day. Any final thoughts, Keenan? This has been fun. I just can't wait till we start to get these reports out of like training camp and stuff to like get some hints on the roster, see who's rolling, who's not. I'm pumped for it.
My final thoughts are, I am just like you. I'm super excited for the season to come along because as the season grows and as the Spurs teams grows, I can only feel the Spurs Digest community is going to continue to grow and grow. I'm like, my goal is to have 1,000 people in one of these chats and we just all get to talk about like all great games that happen, maybe like a big Christmas Day game or whatnot. Just like there's so many things and I'm excited for it. I'm excited to grow. And also shout out Xavier Hernandez because that meet and greet idea, love it. I really like that meet.
It's a really excited. And like we said, hey, we got a lot of comments in the last stream. Dude, look, multilingual here at Spurs Digest. Si vous parlez français, hablas español, no problem. We speak all kinds of languages. We welcome absolutely every Spurs fan in here. Thank you so much for tuning in. That'll do it for this episode of Spurs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like on the stream, comment on the stream, and hey, subscribe to the channel. We're pushing 10,000 subs. You're part of the group that's still here. Just double check, see if you've subscribed, because if not, hey, you want to be part of the first 10,000, right? We got some big things coming. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Josh Gosse, my co-host Keenan Warner. We'll catch y'all in the next one.